My aunt was in heart-wrenching state, sobbing uncontrollably. I had come from the neighboring town with my dad to my uncle's house because of his sudden passing. My aunt and uncle had no children, so they had devoted their entire lives to each other. But after he passed away, my aunt was completely devastated. My mother tried her best to comfort her, but my aunt kept suffering from frequent fainting spells. My mother spent the first 3 days taking care of her every single need. My uncle owned several plots of land that brought in a substantial rental income every month. So my aunt was financially secure. She didn't need money, but rather a support system to lean on. My aunt was in early 30s and wanted to spend the rest of her life honoring my uncle's memory. I was the youngest of my siblings, with six older brothers and sisters, so there was no real need for me back home. I was 15 years old at that time. My mother said, "We can't leave your aunt all alone like this. Let's leave Salab here with her. She won't feel the absence of a son and she won't be lonely. Otherwise, she will end up sick grieving over your uncle." My aunt agreed to the proposal. She said, "Yes, leave Salab here with me." My dad said, "Stay here and I'll get you enrolled in a nearby high school." Then he told my aunt, "I will send money for all his expenses." My aunt replied, "Oh, come on, brother-in-law. What are you saying? He's like my own son. Where would I even spend all my money? Living all by myself? It doesn't matter whether you pay for celebs' expenses or not." But my dad firmly refused to let her cover my costs, so I stayed to live with my aunt. She cared for me deeply and was constantly asking me, "What do you like to eat? Tell me, and I'll cook it for you." I didn't really have any special preferences. To be honest, back at my parents' house, no one ever paid much attention to me because I was the youngest. My parents had already satisfied their desire for parenting with my older siblings. I was just the kid sent on errands by my older brothers or asked to do chores by my sister-in-law. My sisters were also married, and whenever they came to visit, my sole job was to babysit their kids, and here was my aunt giving me all this importance and attention. It felt like a very strange and familiar feeling. My own mother had never once asked if I had a favorite meal. Anyway, I was enjoying all of this, but after a while, things started happening that troubled me deeply. My aunt began exhibiting behavior that I couldn't quite explain. Her house was fairly large with 4 or 5 bedrooms, but whenever I tried to sleep in a separate bedroom, she would say, "Love, I get so lonely and airy sleeping alone. Please sleep in my room." I said, "All right, Auntie." I started sleeping in her room, setting up my cot right next to her bed. I would sleep soundly or head off to school in the morning, come home to do my homework, pick up groceries from the local market for her, and help out with minor household chores. He would talk to me throughout the day. However, one night I saw something that completely threw me off. I don't know why I couldn't sleep that night. Maybe because it was a weekend and I had slept late in the morning. Half an hour passed with my eyes shut, but sleep just wouldn't come. As I lay there trying to fall asleep, my aunt got up from her bed, took off the thick scarf she usually wrapped around her neck, placed it on the bed, and walked into the attached bathroom. Keep in mind, my aunt never took off her head covering during the day, and I had never seen her without it. I assumed she thought I was fast asleep. A little while later, she came out of the bathroom completely dripping wet, as if she had just taken a full shower. It was dead winter, and while I was buried under a heavy blanket, she was taking a bath at this hour. I was deeply unsettled, especially since she was shivering violently from the cold. I couldn't wrap my head around it. If she wanted to take a shower, why didn't she do it at noon in the yard under the warm sun? Who takes freezing bath at midnight? She immediately got into her bed, covered herself up, and went to sleep. I was stunned when I woke up the next morning to get ready for school. I asked her, "Auntie, why did you go take a bath late night?" She looked visibly flustered by my question. She said, "Oh, it was nothing. I just felt a little restless." I said, "Well, you shouldn't bath in this extreme cold. You are going to make yourself sick. She said, don't worry, nothing will happen. Were you awake? I replied, yeah, I slept in the yesterday, so I wasn't sleepy last night. I ate my breakfast and left for school, but when I returned that afternoon, I saw my aunt chopping vegetable completely lost in thought. The front door was open as usual. In our town, people left their doors unlocked from morning till night, only locking them when going to sleep, and neighbors visited each other constantly. When I walked in from school, she was sitting on a stool chopping vegetables. I greeted her, but she seemed completely out of it. I thought to myself that she was probably missing my uncle. I said to her, if you keep dwelling on uncle like this, you are going to get sick. Please take care of yourself. She smiled at my words and said, alright, go take a shower and I'll make you some fresh bread. I said, okay. I noticed that my aunt was becoming more and more absent minded all the time. I couldn't even say for sure if he was just missing my uncle anymore because during the first few days he used to talk about him constantly. But now she had become extremely quiet. She would jump at the slightest sound, looking as if something was weighing heavily on her mind. That night, I caught my aunt staring at me. At first, my eyes were closed, but I opened them just a crack and watched her. The room was dark, but a faint light, likely moonlight, was streaming in through the window. The light was enough for me to clearly see her silhouette. She looked at me and walked right up to my bed, probably checking to make sure I was sound asleep. Once she felt satisfied that I was sleeping, she turned back. This time, she stayed inside the bathroom for 2 full hours before coming out. Having taken another shower, I was utterly bewildered as to why she was spending 2 hours in the bathroom in this freezing weather. No healthy person could take a 2 hour shower in the dead of winter. She was trembling uncontrollably when she stepped out, shivering from the cold, but I couldn't understand why she kept doing it. The next day, what I feared actually happened. When I woke up, my aunt hadn't gotten up to make breakfast. When I called out, Auntie, I'm going to be late, please make me breakfast, she replied in a weak voice. My whole body is aching. I can't get up. I walked over to her and placed my hand on her forehead. She was burning up with a high fever. I said, this fever is because of your nighttime baths. You took another shower last night and stayed in there for 2 hours. Hearing this, she opened her fever heavy eyes and asked, how did you know? I said, Auntie, I couldn't sleep. I don't understand why you keep going to take showers in the middle of the night. She closed her eyes and said, I can tell you. You're still a kid, you wouldn't understand. I had no idea what the issue was. Either way, I took the day off from school. My aunt sent me to get medicine from the local town doctor. I explained her condition to him, brought the medicine back, made breakfast for her, and gave her the dosage. After a short while, her fever began to subside. I said, look, I consider you like my own mother, so I'm worried about you. Why do you take bath late at night? She said, I told you, I can't explain it to you. Either way, I've caused you so much trouble. I said, it's no trouble at all, Auntie. I have never treated you any differently than my own mother. She said, and I consider you like my own son. In fact, my wish came true when you came here. If I ever had a son, I would have wanted him to be just like you. Taking care of me like this, I stayed home from school for 2 days to take care of her. On the third day, her condition improved a bit, so I made my own breakfast, ate, and went to school. But when I returned, my aunt was crying. I walked into the house and asked, Auntie, are you okay? Why are you crying? She said, it's out of my hand. I just can't handle it anymore. I asked, what can't you handle, Auntie? What's going on with you? She stared at my face for a moment, then went into her room and locked the door behind her. I felt deeply anxious. I knocked on the door and said, Auntie, what happened? Please tell me. She said, Celeb, just leave me alone for a little while. Your food is ready in the kitchen. Don't disturb me. I'll come out on my own. But anxiety got the better of me, so I looked through the window that opened into inner yard. What my eyes saw made me lose my mind. My aunt was standing there, completely unclothed. The very next second, I pulled back from the window and covered my eyes with my hands. My heart nearly stopped in my chest. What had I just done? Whether intentional or accidental, I had seen my aunt without any clothes on. I couldn't think straight. I felt a wave of intense self disgust for having peeked through the window. I had thought she might just be sitting there crying in distress, and since she was already in a fragile state, I wouldn't wanted her to slip into severe depression over my uncle's death. But what I actually saw had never even crossed my mind. I backed away from the window and sat down on the bench in the yard. Food was ready in the kitchen and I had been starving, but what I had just witnessed completely wiped out my appetite. After 2.5 hours, the bedroom door opened. The food was still sitting untouched. My aunt stepped out of the room, glanced at me, and walked straight toward the kitchen. Her hair was wet and her eyes were strangely bloodshot. They looked sullen if she had been weeping heavily. She had a strange expression on her face. When she saw that the food hadn't been eaten, she called out from the kitchen, "Slab, why haven't you eaten, son? What is this behavior? I cooked this meal for you." I couldn't bring myself to look her in the eye because the state I had seen her in made me wish the ground would open up and swallow me whole. My aunt came over, sat down beside me and said, "Son, why didn't you eat? I made the vegetables you like. Did you eat something at school?" I shook my head. "No." I asked, "What are you hiding from me?" When I asked this, my aunt flinched instantly. She said, "Nothing. Why are you asking like that? Didn't I tell you I would come out of the room in a little while? I wasn't feeling very well. I told you to understand my distress, so why are you bothering me like this? Come on, eat your food." But I stayed put and said, "Tell me the truth. Why are you so anxious? You were never like this before." Jumping at the slightest sound, getting agitated and avoiding my question. "What is your problem? Is me being there causing you any trouble?" The next moment, my aunt placed her hand over my mouth and said, "Caleb, what kind of talk is that? I consider you my own son. It's just that I have started missing your uncle terribly these days. Whenever I think of him, I can't control my emotions. My eyes fill with tears and I start breaking down. I feel a strange restlessness and just want to spend most of my time alone. That's all it is, nothing else." She fed me with her own hands. I tried my best to push away the memory of seeing her without her head covering in the bathroom, reminding myself that I hadn't looked on purpose. It was just a mistake that I deeply regretted either way. I believe her story that her strange behavior was due to her grief over my uncle. However, a few days later, I started noticing something very peculiar. All of my uncle's framed photos that used to hang throughout the house, even in the bedroom, had been taken down by my aunt and packed away in a trunk in the storage room. The only picture left in the room was her own. When I saw this, I felt a bit sad. I asked her, "Auntie, why did you take down all of Uncle's pictures?" She said, "It's nothing, son. Whenever I look at his photos, my heart aches. I keep remembering him over and over again. I want to move forward in life, and if I keep staring at these pictures day and night, my health will only get worse." What she said made sense. It really was better to keep those photos put away in the storage room for the time being. I helped her place the remaining photos on the box myself. After that, my aunt began to look noticeably happier. She was still lost in thought most of the time, but occasionally she would start humming songs to herself. She seemed absorbed in her own world and looked much more refreshed. Yet, she was still taking late baths at night, which I found extremely odd. By then, the weather had shifted significantly. One night, as I was sleeping, I heard my aunt scream. I woke up, startled, and bottled up from my bed. When I looked over at her bed, she wasn't there. Then I noticed the bathroom. The light inside was on. I started worrying that she might have fallen inside. I immediately got up and approached the bathroom door. But as I went to ask if she was okay, my ears burned at the sound coming from inside. I could hear muffled whispering. I couldn't make out what was being said, but it was clear. She was talking to someone. There was no one else in the house except me and my aunt. So who was she talking to? Or was it just my imagination? The next moment, the sound of running water stopped and I began to hear faint groaning. It all felt so unsettling and confusing. I was young and naive, but the noises coming from inside sent my mind spiraling with all kind of unsettling thoughts. I backed away from the door, immediately hurried back to my bed. A little while later, my aunt stepped out of the bathroom. I had pulled the blanket completely over myself because she walked out wearing only a bath towel. After coming out, she pulled out her clothes and changed. My heart was pounding frantically the entire time. Shortly after, I saw her standing in front of the vanity mirror in the middle of the night, brushing her hair. She was walking with an unsteady stride and wincing slightly. What could have happened in the bathroom to leave her in that state? I began to suspect her. I started looking at her differently. The love, respect, and the reverence I had held for my aunt began to gradually fade from my heart. I began to feel that she was no longer the person she used to be. I finally got answers to all my questions when my aunt woke up in the middle of another night, grabbed something from her dresser drawer, and headed into the bathroom with it. As soon as she walked in, I got out of bed and followed her. After a few moments, some strange sounds come from inside, followed by completely silence. I gently pushed the bathroom door open. I couldn't believe my eyes. My aunt wasn't in the bathroom. Where could she have gone? As I stepped inside and looked around, my gaze fell on the small skylight window near the ceiling. The window was large enough for a person to squeeze through. My mind went blank. Looking through the opening, I saw a ladder leaning against the outside wall. Where could my aunt have gone at this hour of the night? I felt everything as it was and went outside the house to investigate. Exactly 2 hours later, I saw my aunt walking out from an alleyway. She was walking with quick steps, entered through the back door of the property, climbed up the ladder station there, and climbed back and through the bathroom window. Who had she gone to meet at this hour? And what was the object in her hand that she put back into her dresser drawer? I began looking at my aunt with absolute suspicion. The next day, when my aunt was out, I opened her drawer and found a small old flip phone. Women in our traditional town were not typically allowed or expected to use cell phones, and my late uncle had been quite strict about such things. This phone had originally belonged to him. I had never searched through my aunt's room before, but when I picked up the phone and checked the call logs, I couldn't believe my eyes. There was an unsafe and no number logged, and my aunt had been talking to that number for hours on end. The phone was still in my hand, and when I heard my aunt coming back, I quietly put the phone back and walked out of the room. That night, when my aunt woke up and snuck out through the bathroom window, I followed her. She walked into a house situation at the far edge of the town. The door was unlocked, so she went inside and I slipped quietly behind her. My aunt was embracing a young man around 25 or 26 years old, and he was standing inappropriately close to her. They were standing there talking. The young man was saying, "When are you going to talk to your family? I can't wait any longer. Look, I want to make you the queen of this house." My aunt replied, "There is a huge age gap between us. You are single and I'm a widow. It will cause a huge scandal in your family. How can I trust that you will love me just as much after we get married?" They were holding each other closely while having this conversation. The young man kept begging my aunt to marry him, saying, "I already consider you my wife." It was clear they had already been involved in an intimate relationship. When my aunt stepped out of the house, I was standing there glaring at her in anger. When she saw me, she completely lost her composure. We walked back home together, but I said to her furiously, "Have you no shame? Aren't you torturing the soul of my late uncle? I am going to call my dad and mom right now and tell them everything." She fell to her knees weeping and begged me, "Please don't do this. Your uncle never gave me the happiness or the attention I deserve when he was alive. While your uncle was still alive, this young man used to look at me and say that if I were single, he would marry me in a heartbeat. Now that your uncle has passed, he keeps encouraging me to marry him. I have grown to love him from the bottom of my heart because all the love your uncle failed to give me, this young man gave me. I want to marry him, but I am terrified of what society and the people around us will say." I felt silent hearing my aunt's confession. Ultimately, I told my father about the entire situation the next day. My dad came over immediately. It was better to resolve this matter amicably and give them a respectable path forward through marriage rather than letting them carry on in secret. My dad met with the young man, and a few days later my aunt married him and moved into his house. She was genuinely happy with him. Now there was no longer any reason for me to stay. I was preparing to move back home when my aunt handed me a set of legal documents. She had deeded her land over to me. She said, I truly consider you my son from the bottom of my heart, so half of my property is now yours.